Your ultimate pit stop, Piston Pundit, is here with a massive automotive bombshell. Canada is shifting gears and looking to Europe for EV trade, leaving US automakers in the dust. With Tesla, GM, and Ford at risk, this trade war could skyrocket car prices and shake supply chains. Is this a negotiating tactic or a permanent shift? Buckle up as we break down 6 major ways this could change the future of the North American auto industry. Number 6. Canada's Counterpunch. Tesla takes a direct hit. Canada isn't pulling any punches. In response to US tariff threats, Canada is considering a 100% tariff on Tesla vehicles. That means if you're a Canadian Tesla fan, your next Model Y or Model 3 could suddenly cost twice as much, pricing many buyers out of the market. But here's the real kicker. Tesla isn't just selling cars in Canada, it's also sourcing critical battery materials like lithium and nickel from the country. If Canada retaliates by limiting access to these essential resources, Tesla will be forced to look elsewhere, and that means higher costs, production slowdowns, and potentially pricier EVs in the US. And let's not forget Wall Street. Tesla's stock is notoriously reactive to trade disputes. Even the mere rumor of Canadian restrictions could send investors into a frenzy, making this tariff threat more than just an economic jab. It's a strategic hit on Tesla's long-term growth. Number 5. A supply chain nightmare. US automakers feel the pressure. For over a century, Canada and the US have been deeply intertwined in auto manufacturing. Canadian factories supply essential components that US automakers rely on. But if Washington and Ottawa go head-to-head with tariffs, it could cripple the supply chain overnight. Think about it. Most North American-built vehicles aren't made in a single country. Components cross borders multiple times before they even make it to final assembly. If tariffs jack up costs, automakers like GM, Ford, and Stellantis will have to either eat the expense or pass it on to consumers. Spoiler alert, they're passing it on to consumers. Expect sticker shock at the dealership, potential job cuts in factories, and plant slowdowns as automakers scramble to restructure supply chains. Number 4. Europe's big opportunity. A new EV powerhouse in Canada? If Canada truly pivots to the European Union, American automakers might find themselves boxed out of a key market, while European brands like Volkswagen, BMW, and Mercedes-Benz thrive. Why? Because unlike the US, the EU keeps its trade policies with Canada relatively open, allowing smoother market access under the Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, CETA. That means European EVs could soon become Canada's new favorites, while US brands struggle to compete. With fewer import taxes and a more EV-friendly regulatory landscape, German and Scandinavian automakers could flood the Canadian market, offering more affordable, high-tech EVs that undercut American competition. That's a nightmare scenario for Detroit's Big Three, one that could reshape their entire sales strategy if Canada truly commits to this European alliance. Before we delve deeper, do us a favor and smash that like and subscribe button. This helps us reach more auto enthusiasts just like you. Now, let's shift gears and steer towards our next point. Number 3. US car prices could surge. The ripple effect on consumers. If trade tensions between the US and Canada continue to escalate, one of the biggest casualties will be American consumers. A 100% tariff on Canadian imports wouldn't just impact automakers, it would hit car buyers square in the wallet. Canada is a major supplier of aluminum, steel, and essential battery materials. If these resources become twice as expensive due to tariffs, automakers will be forced to pass those costs on to consumers. This means higher sticker prices, pricier repairs, and a shrinking pool of affordable models, especially in the EV sector, where Canadian nickel and lithium are critical for battery production. But the domino effect doesn't stop there. Industries beyond automotive, from construction to consumer electronics, also rely on Canadian metals. If tariffs drive up raw material costs, inflation will spread across multiple sectors, making everything from home appliances to smartphones more expensive. The US consumer may ultimately bear the heaviest burden, with higher prices across the board, all because of a trade war that shows no signs of cooling down. Number 2. Canada reconsidering its automotive ties. A breakup in the making? For decades, the US and Canada have been automotive allies, operating within an interconnected supply chain that fuels North American manufacturing. But that relationship is now under serious strain. Tensions boiled over in early 2025 when the US slapped a 25% tariff on Canadian and Mexican auto imports, citing national security and trade imbalances. Canada didn't take it lightly, responding with a massive $155 billion retaliatory tariff package targeting key US exports. As a result, Canada is now exploring alternative trade deals with Europe, leaning on agreements like CETA, Comprehensive Economic and Trade Agreement, to reduce reliance on American imports and exports. If this shift continues, North America's once unified automotive sector could become a fragmented battlefield, forcing US automakers to rethink production strategies and global partnerships. While a complete severing of trade ties is unlikely, the risk of long-term disruption is real, and US carmakers can't afford to ignore it. Number 1. Canada's Endgame, Bluff or a permanent trade shift? So the big question remains, is Canada's move just a high-stakes bluff to pressure Washington into backing down on tariffs, or is this the beginning of a fundamental realignment in global auto trade? Some analysts believe this is just a political maneuver, a way to force the US to rethink its aggressive trade stance. Others argue that given the current economic landscape, Canada is genuinely pivoting toward Europe, looking to secure long-term stability outside of US influence. If Canada sticks to this path, US automakers will face serious challenges, from higher production costs to losing a key export market. Tesla, General Motors, Ford, and Stellantis could be forced to restructure operations, find new suppliers, or risk losing market share in Canada altogether. What's clear is that both nations are now playing a high-stakes game of economic brinkmanship, and the outcome will determine the future of North American auto trade. Final thoughts. A defining moment for North American auto trade. Canada's bold shift toward European partnerships is a clear message. It won't be strong-armed by US tariffs. But is this just a temporary move to force negotiations, or are we witnessing the early stages of a complete trade realignment? If the US holds its ground, automakers could see prices skyrocket, supply chains disrupted, and market shares shrink. If Canada fully commits to its European pivot, we might see a future where German, Swedish, and French EVs dominate Canadian roads, leaving American automakers struggling to compete. So what do you think? Is this trade war just political posturing, or is North America's auto industry truly on the verge of a major transformation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's talk about it. And don't forget, if you want to stay ahead of the biggest automotive updates, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We'll keep you in the fast lane with the latest insights, right here on Piston Pundit. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.